Got the windows rolled down, got the radio up, and I'm heading out of Vegas tonight. And it's a 1:30 on a 4-day run, and the desert is a welcome sight. I can see you there in that dress you wear, and it's keeping my foot on the gas. I'll drink a gallon of Joe just to make it back home and hold you in my arms at last. There's a full moon shining, lighting up the highway like a beacon to you. If I can make it on time, have some moonlit stay lamp and roll a diesel right on through. Well, my eyelids are heavy, there's a blue and white Chevy, and it seems these are right on my heels. And I'm leaning in the bar stool, I can't drive this slow, yeah, you know how it feels. But
now, broadcasting live from deep in the desert of Nevada, K-Coast Radio presents UFOTalkRadio.com with your host, Larry Glenn Anderson, Glenn Larry.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be. This is Glenn Lary, and we are live here from the LJ Broadcasting Networks here deep in the desert of Nevada. And it's going to be quite a show tonight, everybody. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope that you are hearing the broadcast very well. I want to say hello to all our affiliates out there, to all the micro stations. I like to say hello to shortwave and to the internet stations and to the ham operators, 73s to you, CQCQ, as you know what that means, to KBFF FM in Pahrump, Nevada. We say hello to all those folks up there, and also KBHR 57 AM, Sissy, Alaska. Hello, and nice to know that you're listening. Look at our Facebook page, and we've artbelltribute.com, and what a show it's going to be tonight. I have a researcher that'll be on tonight. His name is Eddie, and this gentleman is a researcher, and he has done his homework, I'll tell you for sure. I said, what is in the skies? What's going on? What are we seeing? What is it really what we're seeing? Is it government? I don't know. We're going to find out about the show right after this, well, a couple of announcements. So I want to say once again, get ready to hear some really good stuff.
Mom, you wanted to talk to me?
The calendar hypnosis into thumbtack cushion, completely tailwind. And sewing elephants plant before cartoon paper cups. So numbers renovate.
If your teenager is trying drugs or alcohol, would you know the right words to use?
Afterward, lightly fish scale. Doorbell.
Find out what to say at drugfree.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
I do hope that your day and week went well. I got a lot done today. We put up some ham antennas, some radio antennas, CB antennas, of course, too, and got a lot done. Had a lot of help from a good friend, came over. We're the same age, so we're holding our chest and huffing and puffing after we got done, of course. But we almost, because it's getting late, we got to get on the air. Got a special show tonight. And, well, I'll introduce him right now. Eddie, are you on the line?
I certainly am. Thanks for having me. And hello to all the listeners.
Well, it's a great pleasure to have you on the air. And, you know, I was talking to you earlier this week, and of course a couple times on the telephone, and we spoke about strength of this private contractor at General Motors, and worked on several different programs. And the I'm excited to see things happen. I watched the space station go overhead the other night. That was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, does that light up the sky as it goes? Was it 14,000 miles an hour? Something like that? But it's hauling butt. I'll tell you for sure. And neighbors are out looking at it, of course. Now, I have seen some real strange things, as folks have known, as I have had on the station and the channel and before and talked about this and other shows too. But what do you think about all this? Is this a well? Is this the government trying to deceive us, trying to do different things to us? And I know it ties in with a lot of other stuff. And well, go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and take off from there.
Well, I would first off say that I think they might be riding the coattails of what a lot of people have experienced. I spoke with a lot of people in my life that have had personal experiences with seeing things in the sky, or seeing seeing examples of different things. The first thing I'd ever heard when I was a very little kid was a couple of my family members who had actually seen a large UFO in Northern California, and a bunch of smaller entities basically being sucked up into this mothership, if you will.
My gosh.
And just kind of taken off into the air. And this was a large percentage of people in my family that actually seen this. And so I grew up wanting to investigate this and wanting to learn more and figure out what the hell's going on here. And to answer your question, yeah, it might be a little bit of a government conspiracy, and I hope to tie a lot of that together tonight and to bring in, to kind of interweave everything from the UFO, if you will, Project Blue Book, which has been kind of familiarized with the recent History Channel special that got yanked off the air on the last episode, with things that you might be familiar with, like HARP, things like MK Ultra, and things like the New World Order, which is the ultimate goal with all of these things. I believe what they're trying to do is take these experiences that many people might think as folklore, or just stories,
right,
or their personal experience, and elevating that and basically playing on our emotions with a couple of different projects that have popped up due to the Freedom of Information releases, the Freedom of Information Act.
Of course.
Over the course of the past few years, we've learned quite a bit about what they really have been up to at DARPA, what they've really been doing at NASA, and what their ultimate goals were, stemming all the way back to a little thing called Operation Paperclip.
And that was quite something. Let's just get the people over here. Yeah, interesting. German.
So, I mean, I'm gonna do my best to try to tie this all together, and at the same time invite anybody with any ideas or anything they want to add to it. So
have them
pop in as well, either to your Facebook in the comments section, which I'm reading.
Thank you.
Or the live line, which I'm not sure if they can do that or not.
Right now we're got you on that line for a reason. I've had some problems with voltage problems up here. We're in a rural area, and but we got you clear the bell. And I want to hear this whole thing. I've got so excited. I got people listening from all the world listening to you right now on the radio. It's pretty crazy. Listen, it's going to be quite frightening for a lot of folks to listen to this show. Because what they may hear, they may not agree with it, or they may understand it, and they may be frightened of it. Now, I'm warning you folks, this is reality. This is not TV. This is the Glenn Lary Show. And we'll be back. Mr. Andy Troy, thank you so very much. We're back right after this.
Every day, we're afraid to report violent crimes. In times like these, choosing to report a crime or helping the police can be a difficult decision. A no-snitching culture has sprung up in our communities, making it unpopular and sometimes even dangerous to report a crime. Do the right thing by calling 911 or your local crime tip line. If you're the victim of a crime, report it. If you know about a crime, report it. To learn more about how to do the right thing, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Now, to have some fun, right along with us, broadcasting live deep from the desert of Nevada. Welcome to the Glenn Lary Show.
And we're live with Eddie Truitt. Eddie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, sir.
All right. My gosh. Good stuff. Real good stuff.
Yeah, so
Go
as
ahead.
you mentioned, this is going to be a lot to take in and a little bit to digest. So we want to put the disclaimer out there that, we encourage, I want to encourage everybody to do their own research.
Right.
And find out what you come up with. And, what I'm going to present to you tonight is basically what I've been able to determine and what I foresee as a result of this research. And I wanted to open up by taking us back to a little speech from 1987 from President Ronald Reagan. It's something that he said way back when, which will kind of be the precursor to this entire movement. And if you're ready, I'd like to go ahead and play a quick little clip for you, Larry. Is that okay?
That's fine with me. Go ahead, my friend.
Here we are.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
And that's from September 21st, 1987, when Ronald Reagan was speaking to the UN and the United Nations. I think that kind of leads us into where we're at today, with something that went way beyond that and started in the late 50s.
Oh yeah.
In which was basically a program to kind of take away all of this bickering amongst the different nations and all of these different reasons for war. Just like he said, what if there was a bigger threat? What if we had an alien invasion? At the time, the Star Wars movie had just come out.
Right.
At the time, he had just introduced the Star Wars defense program. And, he was trying to kind of lay down the law here and lay down the narrative to the what if. What if all of a sudden we had to fight together?
Yes.
Like the movie Independence Day.
Right.
All of these people coming together to fight one evil entity. And at the same time, this narrative has been outlined and basically unveiled in documents where we've actually done different things. And tonight I want to focus on something called Project Bluebeam, not to be confused with Blue Book. Blue Book is the investigation of flying objects.
Bluebeam.
What Project Bluebeam was specifically, it was a program to, in a nutshell, to create a big projector in the sky. And this is the plain talk of the late 60s and early 70s. But their objection at this time was to create a large projector in the sky that would create the illusion of something that would be of a great threat.
Right.
Okay. And what they decided to do was to make that of a religious nature.
Oh.
And so you would have this being either a Mohammed or a Jesus or whatever your religious
Our Virgin Mary
beliefs are in this region. They wanted to project this into the sky. And if anybody remembers about, I'm going to say 3 years ago, there was a big thing on the internet about the skies over China and how they said it was a floating city.
Yeah.
Remember this?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Okay. And so this was an example of basically a cold run and to determine the people's reaction and determine the mass hysteria that it would create by doing this. And obviously didn't strike that many nerves because most people don't even remember it. We're in this society where we have this goldfish memory where, a goldfish lives in a little bowl and he's looking out and he's going, hey man, I live in this little bowl.
Right.
It's kind of small.
Right.
The walls are kind of getting in, kind of shutting in on me. And
Yes.
hey man, I live in this little bowl. You have this 30-second memory where you can't remember what happened 3 days ago. And unfortunately, that's where we're at with all of this, all of these things coming at us with this 24-hour news cycle and, all of this psychological warfare that's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
And for the most part, Project Bluebeam had a little bit more to it. On top of a projector, if you will, they wanted to put a projector into the sky, and then at the same time, wanted to use something that they described as electronic telepathy to try to control people's thoughts and make them think they were hearing God's voice in their mind.
Mind control.
And this is not a science fiction book.
Right.
This is not from television. This is an actual documented thing that was done between DARPA and NASA.
My gosh. So we'll give you an image, and then we'll say, this is God speaking, or we'll give you a message in the sky and freak you out to think it might be something it is not. And now you're hearing and you're thinking, my God, this is real.
Exactly.
Gosh.
And their narrative and their objection was to make you question everything, to make you question your religious beliefs, to make you question everything that you had known. And part of the program, and it comes in a couple different steps, and I can go much deeper on this, but basically it came in a few different steps. The first step would be to create some artificial earthquakes. And this is, I'm not just spitballing here, that these are actual government ideas that they had come up with.
Okay, I've heard this.
And after creating these artificial earthquakes, their goal was to basically disrupt places of archaeological significance. Then afterwards, send in scientists to basically debunk what we had been taught and what we had learned all of these years, and get people's belief system to be very jarred.
Right.
Okay, that would be step one. So what we thought was the gospel is no longer there, and we know this because of a recent series of earthquakes that uncovered this thing.
Okay, next.
Well, these earthquakes could also be tied into what a lot of people would be considering the end of days.
Right.
With what you might have noticed is in recent news, we've got things like the Red Sea, the redding of the sea, the parting of the sea with the tsunami event several years ago, the locusts that are coming from Africa,
the killer murder bee.
All of these things that were in the farmer's almanac of biblical writings.
Right.
So for the most part, they wanted to start off with these big weather events, which comes back to the HARP side, which we know they know how to control the weather.
Right.
On a side note, the HARP program was closed down because they had told Congress they had already accomplished what they had in mind. They already had it figured out. So they no longer needed that big system. So we go from the big earthquake, we send in the scientists to say, oh, well, what we thought was the gospel no longer is.
Well, God, is your freedom really your freedom? Oh, interesting.
Exactly. And then they put your mind into a state of,
doubt.
The psychosis where it's, well, what is real then?
Right. What is real? There's doubt. Yeah. It's
exactly
a big plan. Go ahead. Sorry.
So long story short, after this, they would then, the second step would be basically to present this religious second coming or this religious event that would strike in the hearts of all of the millions and millions of religious people would see this in the sky at the same time. And then all of a sudden decide it's either the rapture or it's aliens was, one of the things, or it's whatever your belief system is. And I don't understand how they intended to do that, but I know that was the part of the mission. So now you've got this huge, event where it's, oh, Jesus is coming back, or, oh, the aliens are here. Well, now we need to unite as one. Okay, so during this second step, the ideology behind it is that our democratic system basically would no longer exist, and people would be searching for a new one.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be searching for a new belief system and how we could all work together in where we tie this into the new world order, which has already been designed. It's a one money system, one belief system, open border, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
And this would conveniently be something available, and it would start to get pushed out on all the different media for people to accept and to embrace, because we already know that our history is wrong. We've just witnessed this religious event, the biggest of our time, and many people believe it's the end of time.
Now,
just based on the headline.
With what's going on today with this virus, all the close down, the shutdowns, stay in your homes, don't go anywhere. It's a test to see how something else will happen. How could they control us to the point where, well, you see a new order, our belief systems or what have you, our Constitution, where are we at with this, Eddie?
I'm glad you asked that question, because that was actually the next part of my pitch here. After the second step, where they present these, these visions and this mistrust in our existing belief system, I want to jump into an article that was published in 1970 by a psychologist by the name of James Van McCullen. And the magazine is called Psychology Today.
All familiar with that.
This is from 1970, bear in mind. Okay. And just so you know, James McCullen was a large part of the MK Ultra movement as well.
Okay.
So he published, and this is a very short snippet in case we need to go to break.
We will about
the day has come when we can combine sensory deprivation with drug hypnosis and astute manipulation of reward and punishment to gain almost absolute control over any individual behavior. It should then be possible to achieve a very rapid and highly effective type of positive brainwashing that would allow us to make dramatic changes in that person's behavior and personality. And the first thing that comes to mind when I think of the reward and punishment portion of this and the sensory deprivation, how many times have you been scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or what have you, Snapchat, and for some reason you just can't stop looking for the next story, looking at the posts, and then you get all these likes on a post that you've made? Well, that's the reward. And the deprivation is the constant search for on this 24-hour news cycle, or not getting any likes. All of a sudden, it's a good monkey, bad monkey situation. No banana for you. You get no likes on this. Oh, well, boo-hoo. Somebody reshares you. They like your comment. But you've got this euphoria and this dopamine that comes out of your brain.
Wow.
Well, this is a tool.
Yeah.
And this is being used to manipulate us.
My gosh. We'll be back after this with Eddie Truitt. What a remarkable guy. Only you've done your homework, I'll tell you for sure. Yes.
Violence, theft, graffiti. It's all part of joining a gang. In times like these, we need to protect our children and our community from gangs. Gangs often prey on unsupervised teens with low self-esteem, who perform poorly in school, who seek a sense of belonging, or are simply bored. Joining a gang often involves violent hazing rituals. Once in a gang, members can become alienated from their families, school, and friends. Drugs, guns, and malicious activity are common elements in gangs. Trying to leave a gang can be a difficult and dangerous process. The best way to get out of a gang is never to join one. Protect kids from being recruited by a gang. Know who they're hanging out with. Involve kids in after-school activities and provide positive role models. Help reduce gang activities in your community by working with local law enforcement and school systems. Don't let a kid you know get involved with gangs. Visit ncpc.org to learn more or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting live deep from the desert of Nevada, The Glenn Lary Show.
I'm back, everybody, with Eddie Turret. Eddie, you are fantastic. Love what you're talking about. It makes a lot of sense. My gosh. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody out there on Facebook. Looking at YouTube. We are live on YouTube also. All over the world on the radio side. Want to say hello to Chicago out there. I'm seeing also Canada. Yes, lots of Canada. Washington State, Montana, Vermont out there. Good to see you. Lots of hits, yes. Lots of hits because this is a fantastic show. I'll promise you that. Eddie, we are back, and sir, go ahead. Thank you.
Well, thanks again. If you're just joining us, I've got my tinfoil hat on, and I'm talking about conspiracies.
Let me hang on. Let me get mine. I got mine right here. I got it right here. You see this?
This portion of this
How's that?
brought to you by Reynolds tinfoil aluminum wrap. The best in hat.
I had to do it. Just had to do it. Go ahead.
So, I mean, we're having some fun here, but I mean, this is all real stuff. And the next part of this, it's going to come in tiers. But the next part of this plan, which was written, let's just say 40, 50 years ago.
Yes.
Before we had a screen in our face. The next step in the process would be electronic telepathy. And the MK Ultra was kind of, they experimented with acid, they experimented with mind control, and they wanted to kind of figure out how they could crack that nut. Okay?
Right.
Well, apparently they have, because the next step came from people not only involved with the MK Ultra, but believe it or not, the Nazi that we, I don't want to use the word rescue, but during Operation Paperclip, we basically took the top scientists from the Nazis.
Yes, we did.
This is all fact. Anybody that wants to do their research, it's called Operation Paperclip.
Yes. And
the father of the NASA program, the gentleman who actually began our space race against Russia, Dr. Wernher von Braun.
Yes.
He predicted in 1974 that a hoax alien invasion would be the first threat the world would face together.
Now, we're not talking Wars of the Worlds, everybody. We're not talking the radio show. We're talking something. Go ahead. That's going to happen, or it's about to happen. Sorry. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. So the next step would be electronic telepathy involving ELF, electronic low frequency waves, which will penetrate the brain, interweaving our natural thinking to form diffused artificial thought and making everyone believe that God is speaking to them from within their soul. This is something that has been typed up over 40 years ago, and right around the invention of the television, this is something that's referenced in a couple of patents that I want to get to also.
Okay.
But basically, mind control, it started off on the idea of this projector in the sky with blue beam.
Right.
And I believe there's no fact of this, but I believe they have nano-sized this, and that we are receiving a frequency every time we look at a screen, whether it's our television, whether it's our computer, whether it's a video game, whatever. There's a frequency that comes in, ultra low frequencies, under
100 milliseconds. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Unseen by us. Okay, and that's just my belief. That's not something I can show you a document about.
Right.
But their idea back in the 50s and 60s was to interweave our natural thinking and to form diffused artificial thought, making everyone believe that God is talking to them from within their souls.
Or whoever, right?
Ahead.
Or whoever their belief system is, maybe an alien talking to me or whoever, but they'll get the message.
No, that's a great point.
Right.
And if you're not a God-fearing person, then the alien invasion would be the second, the thing that you would see.
Right.
Apparently, there would be a way to use your own belief system to see what you want to see. In
right.
And I don't truly understand what they mean by that. But that's the great part about DARPA. You know, you're not supposed to.
No.
And any technology that we have, even the technology we're talking to you on right now, it was all created by DARPA. And anything that we know about is a minimum of 30 years old.
So explain DARPA to these folks.
So what DARPA is if all the military had a mad scientist secret lab that did abracadabra, hocus pocus, crazy things that are unimaginable, they would invest in that.
Right.
And this is a place where they've come up with things like voice to text. They've come up with very usable things in our everyday life, like GPS, but much deeper than that. And there's a lot of great programs on the History Channel of things that have been declassified, such as like Humvees that have anti-missile capabilities. So you could shoot a Scud missile right at a Hummer, and it'll shoot it down within a couple of feet of the Hummer, and nobody in there gets hurt. They have nanotechnology that actually has robots or drones the size of mosquitoes.
These drones can form anything. They can do fireworks. They can do all sorts of things. Have you seen the drones? It's unbelievable. They can provide an image in the sky for them too, along with their hologramics. So, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I don't want to get that out because drones have become very dangerous, by the way, and they've been useful. But yeah, go ahead, Benny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and there's really cool videos of using hundreds of drones at the same time to create an illusion. Which might be a page of music that they want to take for this same thing. But if you go to YouTube and just punch in Project Bluebeam, you'll see several videos. One of the most interesting ones is from Jerusalem, and it's from a few years back, which created, I'm not going to say a religious hysteria, but it did create a large influx of people headed to these temples where this had happened. And what it was basically a huge light shooting from the top of the temple into the sky and then being absorbed by it. And you can see the video yourself. It's pretty cool. However they did it. If it's real, I think it's pretty doggone amazing. Someone had the insight to set up their video camera at the time this thing was going off.
Or was that planned? You never know. I want to know where, excuse me, the hell do they do it at? I mean, is it in a mountaintop or the middle of the desert? I mean, it's got to come from somewhere, project from somewhere.
Well, you see where we're going right now with not just virtual reality, but augmented reality. And so you take a video of something real in the real world, and then once it gets to video, you can basically put anything in the middle.
Right.
And that goes all the way from augmented reality to the deep fakes that we're seeing online.
And they can create the person that passed away could fulfill the rest of the movie.
Exactly. Like I just watched the Star Wars last night.
Right.
And spoiler alert, Princess Leia's in it, in her older self and in the younger version of herself with Luke. Pretty cool. And it's seamless, right?
Yeah.
So the idea with that is, with the way that our media works right now, somebody could post something and it's viral inside of 30 seconds.
And you couldn't stop it. It's out and gone.
Somebody could say, hey, this is President Trump. I'm going to blow up yada yada.
Yeah.
And before anybody could debunk this, it's already worldwide. If 10 million people have seen it, and one of those people can have their finger on the button somewhere.
God, forgive. No. Yeah. So I wonder, Elva Korea, what's his name? Kim, whatever his name is. How much does he get? And the Chinese, I mean, how much information are they really getting from us, our intel? For instance, if something like this would happen, I mean, would it be too late for those folks over there? I mean, technology is so advanced. They might have the best of the best.
I understand China provides the internet for South Korea.
Okay.
And that they not only filter but monitor everything happening there.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of narrators in between anything that happens. And unfortunately, China's not our best friend.
No, they're not. I don't care what people think. They are not.
Right.
And
if you go back and do some research, you'll see that they have maliciously attacked us with lead poisoning to our pets, to our kids, and I wouldn't put it past them to do it to our medicine.
Well, I wouldn't either. Gosh.
If you remember a couple years ago, this story came out where it turns out that all these kids' toys had serious amounts of lead in them, and the CEO of that company, he hung himself like an hour after the story.
Right.
He knew better. He knew what he was doing. Well, here's the thing, man. These companies are subsidized by their government. The same companies that are hacking our intellectual property from our brilliant inventors.
That's right.
And our amazing corporations, they're getting subsidized by their government to do so.
Yeah, and they're sending them over here to
You're doggone right.
To be in our universities and to discover our inventions and what we're doing, our technology.
Right.
And they're right on it,
So
and they are smart.
I think
and they're smuggling.
A good job of tying together how HARP worked in this with the earthquakes,
right?
How MK Ultra works with the electronic telepathy, and how the New World Order has itself poised as this go-to democracy that everybody's going to be looking for. And for the most part, I mean, the phone lines and the electrical lines and the coax cables, they're inescapable. You can't escape the ways that they could reach us through electronic effort. There's no way.
I know that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing stopping them from doing this, and they have everything to gain if they wanted to, press the button per se. And, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I don't really want to tie up your line for the whole show. I know a lot of people probably want to comment on this or bring in some more ideas.
Right.
But in a nutshell, we're talking about sensory deprivation. We're talking about social engineering, mind control and manipulation, and it's divide and conquer.
It's
going to come down to this. There's going to be more ants than there are grasshoppers at the end of this deal.
Oh, gosh.
We got to come together with this knowledge. We got to share this information, and we have to stand up against what is being presented to us as the gospel, because it's not always what it seems like it is. And that's who I think everyone listening tonight is people who just don't believe everything they read. And that's what I'm hoping to hear some more callers call in and give us some more ideas on kind of where they're at with it.
Yeah. Well, we're being controlled now at a certain point. I'm waiting to see when the testing has to be done. You have to get a test, or you have to have the vaccine, or you have to be, the device has to be put in your hand. You see what I'm saying?
You know what COVID-19 stands for, right?
Go ahead.
Certification of vaccination identification. They want the electronic chip in us.
Yeah.
They want to basically control us by pretending, we're going to keep you safe with this chip in you, and you're going to be able to tell if your coworkers have had the test or not. While we're at it, we're going to go ahead and add your medical history to this because the doctors might need it. Well, then we're going to add your banking information.
Financials, yeah. You won't get to use.
Now you've got a speeding ticket in Pahrump, and all of a sudden your check you can't pay for anything at the supermarket because they've turned off your ability to pay until you go to court or until you address this issue the government has with you.
Right. May be anything.
Right.
I much love my country, but I do not really love my government. Trust me.
Well, but, there was a space shuttle that is supposed to launch over the weekend on Saturday, and it took till Sunday. And this is going to be the first Space Force launch.
Right.
And it's not scheduled to come back until about 2022. And they've been very secretive about what's on board, but I'm pretty sure it's Bill Gates.
Well, I just let that one go. I've been told by a reliable source that there are many different spaceships up there that we have, and they're already crewed, and they're up there, and they're watching over the universe amongst with all the satellites and all the trash and stuff up in space already. By the way, have you seen all the satellites up there?
I have seen some images of the space junk, if you will.
It's crazy. And it's just is so fan. I was way out how the space station, I don't know, it goes around them or it doesn't hit them or our satellites aren't taken out. I mean, I have not heard of one being taken out. I've heard of them expire and then they just keep going and going, I guess. But yeah.
I think they could change their trajectory based on a couple of hours worth of information on what might be headed towards them, and they could kind of the smart stuff can. But
yeah,
we've got a Tesla up there.
Yeah.
How do you look out for that?
And it's still playing ground control to Major Tom, is it not?
Right.
I should play that. To tell you the truth,
I don't believe everything I read, but there are some very interesting events when some very secret things have tried to happen in the past. Most recently, I'm not going to name the country because I don't want to turn this into a religion thing.
No.
But a particular country had invested into SpaceX to take up some secret cargo. Cost nuclear warhead. And it was a failed mission. And if you look at the footage real close, and there's a lot of videos about this, you can see let's just say unidentified object coming into the screen very quickly and leaving right before that thing was supposed to take off.
It zapped it. Yeah.
Yep. And I could go as deep as, Admiral Byrd and his travels. And, he was supposedly in 1942, he was supposedly headed to the Antarctic.
Yes, he was.
And he was told by these beings not to do anything with nukes, and that we were going to kill ourselves, and they were here to make sure that we didn't blow ourselves up with nukes, making us into basically an ant farm. We're an ant farm in some alien kid's room.
You never know. But I will say this: I do believe they are watching, and I believe that they know, and I believe they've been here before, and well. There's more to come, I'll tell you for sure. And it's going to be an awakening for everybody. If it is what it is, it's not what's going on we were just talking about. But, gosh, how crazy. We're about 15 to the top of the hour. Yes, it's very crazy and scary. Eddie, we're at about 15 to the top of the hour. I'm going to thank you for being on the Glenn Lary Show. And thank you for contributing.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Well, you're a good man, and thank you kindly. We'll be talking after this. And again, thank you, my friend. We'll get back to you. I'll call you tomorrow night. How's that sound? Eddie, be well.
Good. Thank you so much, and thank you, listeners. Hope you guys enjoyed my my pitch, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say.
Thank you, Eddie. Oh, fantastic. We'll be back right after this, everybody.
There's no typical meth user. I was from an upper middle class family. Meth is terribly addictive. My first time using it, I was hooked. There was no turning back. I lost my job. I was homeless. I never thought I'd see my family again. I have a great fear of meth because it took so much of me. I mean, it took everything. Meth took over my soul.
Visit our website at drugfree.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
Now, to have some fun, right along with us, broadcasting live deep from the desert of Nevada. Welcome to the Glenn Lary Show.
I am back, everybody, and what a great honor to have Eddie Truitt on. Great job. A lot of good information, a lot of stuff happening. Thank things that you didn't know about, and some things I wasn't sure about. But I'll tell you one thing: educational. Got my dose today. I'll tell you for sure. Mm-hmm. We're gonna get the phone number out here. Give us a call. Let's talk about what Eddie had to say. Lines are open now.
To call UFO Talk Radio, the Glenn Lary Show, deep in the dark desert of Nevada, call 702-874-1114. North of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. West of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And south of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And east of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. First-time callers, call 702-874-1114. And if you just want to talk to the Glenn Lary Show, call 702-874-1114.
I got the windows rolled down, got the radio up, and I'm heading out of Vegas tonight. And it's a 1:30 on a 4-day run, and the desert is a welcome sight.
Now, to have some fun, right along with us, broadcasting live deep from the desert of Nevada. Welcome to the Glenn Lary Show.
Oh, yes, I love that thunder. Oh, I am back. Well, I'm going to thank Tina's Hair and Extensions in Color. Her number is 702-591-0033. I am getting my hair cut tomorrow. Gosh, it's a little long, I'll tell you for sure. God, it's got strength. Well, whatever. Anyway, but I am covering some bald spots with the long hair. Carpets Tiles USA to Fran. Thank you so much for our flooring out here. His number is 702-265-4419. Ask him about all this stuff. Great guy. Ray's Honey. He's on our internet. You know who he is. He's 702-885-1260, and it's the best honey in the world. I had a good time down at the Pioneer Saloon the other night. They were open briefly. You had to have your distance, of course, and heard the guy play, had a good time, good food, good drinks, everything down at the Pioneer Saloon. And remember Ghost Adventures? Yeah, I was in that, the first one. Yeah, pretty interesting. But anyway, it is haunted. You get a chance to stop by the Pioneer Saloon in Jean, Nevada. Actually, it's in Good Springs, right out of Jean. And come in and mention my name to Tommy. And got something special for you to do that. From me, yes, gotcha. We love the Pioneer. My second office. Oh yeah, what the heck? Are you surviving being locked down? Are you doing? Are you getting out doing some things? Maybe walking the park, walking the dog around the neighborhood. Yeah, keeping your social distance, as they say. And I hope that you're doing some shopping. I'm doing a lot of stuff around here, putting some new windows in the house and some other things, and some great working things, some great jobs, honeydews for myself that I have to get done. But I make a list for myself. And I go, well, honey, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm talking to myself. What do you want? No, but anyway, did get the antennas up for the my hobby radio and ham, and doing my own thing there too. But planning on some new shows too. Got some new cameras coming in for the other side, the other station. By the way, I'm going to do the Glenn and Larry show out there and in here. Both different little backgrounds for you. And got some more guests coming up. I need some phone calls, some callers here. Let's talk about tonight's show. And I want to hear from you, even if just a little bit.
To call UFO Talk Radio, the Glenn Lary Show, deep in the dark desert of Nevada, call 702-874-1114. North of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. West of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And south of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And east of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. First-time callers, call 702-874-1114. And if you just want to talk to the Glenn and Larry Show, call 702-874-1114.
I am watching all the comments. He was via computer. And good evening to everybody. Hello, Brian out there. I want to say hello to you. Robert, hello to you. And Mary, like to see you also. Tracy, good to see you. Gosh, everybody out there. Doug, Patricia, Skip, good to see you. Sorry, Woody, if we were breaking up out there. Hope you got most of the show. Sometimes I don't know, our fault, your fault. Who knows? My gosh, all I'm doing is trying to broadcast. Yeah. Oh, it all looks good. Lots of people join us. Julie, gosh, to see you too. Gotta thank a great guy that came over to help me out. Robert, he's a really great IT guy and got our radio site up and going. If you listen to kghost.com, you'll be hearing us on there. All of our stations, all the affiliates. Boy, Canada really is hard tonight. I don't know what that's all about. Get a lot of people from overseas. I've got looks like there's some Europe in there. We got England. Great, gosh. Anyway, so tonight's show was very interesting, was it not? I mean, and he took the time to call us and share some things going on, and it is going on. And I think we should all kind of look back and think about things, how things may be, well, not what they are. Maybe they're not true. Maybe this is just a big illusion. Maybe this is preparation for something that, well, was bad, yes, but was it really that bad? I know folks have been sick with the virus, but got over it. And but the elderly that were very, very sick with some other things going on, they did not make it, which is sad. This is a man-made type of virus, German warfare, I feel. But there's a cure, and I understand that it'll pass, and then if you have it or you catch it within 10 days, you get mild, some get the worst, but you'll get over it, and you'll be immune to it, and for the rest of your life. But what's the next one coming? What's the next one they're going to conjure up for us, huh? Or is it just an act of nature? As one man put it to me, and I said, "Are you out of your mind?" Well, you never heard me talk like that before, but I'll tell you, I don't buy all of it. Think for yourself. Don't let anybody think for you. Look at all the facts. Look at the backdoor facts. See what's going on. Is it for what it really is? Is that the real person you're talking to that knows that information? Check the information out. There's so much phony news out there. And there's so much weird stuff going on. And I've heard some weird stuff. And I've heard about these multi-millionaire people eating babies and taking their blood and children to disappear. All sorts of wild, whacked out stuff. But is it true? A lot of videos out on stuff like that going on right now, viral, and things are opening up for people to see this is what's going on. Well, is it really going on? I don't know. Well, like I say, there's so much fake news out there. We got time for another caller, please. Let's see what we can get on this line just before we dial down for tonight. Yes. John, good to see you out there. Eddie, good to see you out there also. Gosh, Stephen, God, good friend of mine. Mr. Carpenter, great man.
To call UFO Talk Radio, the Glenn Larry Show, deep in the dark desert of Nevada, call 702-874-1114. North of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. West of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And south of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. And east of the Rockies, call 702-874-1114. First-time callers, call 702-874-1114. And if you just want to talk to the Glenn Larry Show, call 702-874-1114.
my gosh, yes. Well, here we sit. Time's about almost over with the show. Again, I want to thank you out there. I want to thank my Facebook friends. YouTube, share us on Facebook. Do what you can. Spread the news. This was a good show tonight. And I thank you again for listening. All my friends out there on Facebook, thank you for tuning in. It'll be every Tuesday night, as you know, 8 o'clock. We may go 2 hours, depends on the content and how the show goes. I'm going the flow. I don't want to bore you with anything, of course. I'm going to keep things moving ahead. And now that we got the camera thing taken care of and some of the stuff done, we're really working on the phones. And there's always something in radio. We're on a little budget, but we do very well. Thank God that the talent's there, the opportunity's there, and you're there. I do want to thank you kindly for listening to the Glenn Lary Show and having fun with us, taking the ride. That's right. And as I say, well, I love this part. Yeah.
Now, to have some fun, right along with us, broadcasting live deep from the desert of Nevada. Welcome to the Glenn Lary Show.
Thank you again, everybody. God bless. Be well. Play well together if you can get together, but play well. Have fun. God bless. Be safe, please. I'm Glenn Lary. Good night.
That old lady told me I would never be lonely. As she read my